It's Leslie Dories, founder of Foundations Coaching and creator of the Hero Husband Project, and ready for another Facebook Live. And I'm so glad that you're here because the month of June we've been talking all about communication, that bugaboo that seems to get most of us into trouble. And I could talk about this subject all day long for hours and days and all kinds of things, because good communication is necessary for a good relationship, but the key is it's not sufficient. You need good communication plus skills, but one of the things that gets us into trouble all the time is what we're communicating and how. And one of the things that we don't do, and here's the big secret that I'm sharing with you guys today, is why are you having the conversation? What is it that you're trying to accomplish? If you're all emotional and head up and excited and upset and all that other stuff, you may not want to be having a fight, but that's probably where you're going to go. If you can take a moment and figure out just what it is that you want to accomplish, and then ask yourself, is the action you're going to take going to bring you towards that goal, or is it going to move you away? And this idea came to me many, many years ago, long before I ever was doing the kind of work I'm doing now. My daughter, who's now grown, was just starting kindergarten, and I had been responsible for, up until that time, to get her ready to go off to daycare. My son, who was 3 years older, was already going to school, and I had started back working. And when she was in preschool, all I had to do was get her up, throw her clothes on, put her in the car, and take her to preschool, because they did her breakfast and her lunches. Well, now that she was in kindergarten, I need to do the breakfast and lunches. And I need to do her brother's breakfast and lunch. And I needed to do my breakfast and lunch. And so there I was in the kitchen, and I'm flying around the kitchen. I mean, literally, I swear to God, my feet probably were not touching the floor. And there, at the breakfast table, as he always was at that time, was my husband. He was having his breakfast. He was starting his day. He was reading the newspaper. And literally, he didn't hear the slamming cupboards. He didn't hear me flying around the kitchen. And for a brief moment, I wanted to yell at him, "Can't you see I need help?" But to be honest, he couldn't, because he was doing his morning thing. He wasn't aware that I was doing something different in the morning. And so I had this moment of clarity and said to myself, what is it that I want? And what I said was, I need his help. So what actually came out of my mouth was, "Honey," and he put down the paper and he looked at me, and I said to him, "Could you please get our daughter her breakfast in the morning?" And he went, "Sure." And from that day until the day she went to middle school, he got her breakfast every single morning. But if I had done what I'd initially done, which was to yell at him, like, "Why can't you see I need help?" I don't think I would have gotten what I wanted, or I might have, but I would have gotten it in a way that wasn't going to work. So we need to be intentional about the conversations, especially if it's going to be a difficult conversation. And these are the ones that generally get us into trouble. Now, we can have the off-the-cuff conversations of, "Hey, honey, what time are you going to be home?" But we know what that intention is. But a lot of times we start conversations and we don't know where they're going, which generally means they're going to go off track. So figuring out what you want to say, figuring out why you want to say something, and then figuring out what it is you want to say is going to give you a win most of the time. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to have challenging conversations, but it makes it very clear, because this is also one of those things where a lot of times, especially for women, we talk for a lot of different reasons, and sometimes we talk to vent. We just want to get it out of our system. We just want somebody to listen to us. We want somebody to say, "Yeah, that really sucks." We don't want somebody to solve it. So if we can say to our partners, hey, I need to talk, I need to get this off my chest, I don't need a solution, I just need to share, then they know what it is they're supposed to do. And they're not going to jump in and try to fix it. And this is true for men as well. We all just need to tell people, hey, this is what I'm looking for. Can I have a moment of your time? And then make our words match our goal. And I realize this is a little bit more complicated than just opening our mouths and speaking. But again, the question you have to ask is, what do I want to have happen? And how do I want to feel when it's done? And so if we can put a little bit more thought into the front end, we'll probably have a much better experience. So I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts about this or in any other communication challenges you might have. So please just go ahead and put something down in the comments below, and I'll get back to you, because this whole month is Communication Month, and I'd really love to hear from you. And thanks for hanging in.